Mr. Cole,
Here.
Mr. Decanter by Skype,
Present.
Mayor Holliday,
Present?
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Here.
and Miss Miller.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just to make the prerequisite when there is a member of the elected body who has decided for reasons that are allowed by remote voting, we, as the chair, I need to announce to the public that we are having a member participate remotely by vote. All votes tonight that will be taken must be taken in a roll call vote for that reasons. And we proceed, and if there is technical issues, we will address them to the best of our ability and continue the meeting. If not, we will announce that the person who was Skyping in and had technical difficulties is no longer participating in the meeting, and reflect that in the notes and move forward. I think that covers everything we're supposed to identify for doing a remote Skype. And this brings us to our first public comment. Anyone who would like to address the school committee, please step forward, state your name, address, and try to limit your comments to a couple minutes, please. Would anyone like to come forward and make a comment to the school committee? Hearing none, we shall move on to our consent agenda. Mr. Bennett, do we have warrants this evening?
We have two warrants. I move that the following named bills of the Newburyport Public Schools amounting in the aggregate of $6,674.62 be approved and forwarded to the city auditor for payment. There are no conflicts.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Nick. Motion, we need a roll call vote, sorry.
Miss Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday,
Yes?
Mr. Decanter,
Yes.
Miss Sweeney is absent, excuse me, Mr. Menon.
Yes. Mr. Cole. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes.
I apologize. Let's see.
And we have a second warrant. I move that the following named bills of the Newburyport Public Schools amounting in the aggregate of $242,293.50 be approved and forwarded to the city auditor for payment. There are no conflicts.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday,
Yes?
Miss Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Yes.
Mr. Decanter,
Yes.
and Mr. Menon.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to turn your attention to the minutes of our last meeting of January 3rd, 2017. Could I have a motion to accept the minutes, please?
So moved. Second.
Discussion, changes, additions? Hearing none, do we have a roll call vote? Mrs. Kennedy, please.
All righty. Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday,
Yes?
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Yes.
Mr. Menon,
Yes.
Miss Miller,
Yes.
and Mr. Decanter.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, they have midterms this week, so it's probably prudent for that person not
Should
to
be
be
home
here.
studying, yes, so
Yeah.
good luck to everyone who's taking finals this week or midterms. All right, so we move on to request for the Sunday use of the Bresnahan School prior to 1 p.m. for the PTO Spring Fever 5K on April 9th, 2017.
Is there anybody here? I was wondering if there was something to get presented.
Well, I'm here as a representative to request permission to use the Bresnahan School for the 13th annual Spring Fever 5K. All remains the same as in past years. The date is the same as last year. The course is the same use of the Bresnahan as in all past years. Last year we were able to raise about $12,000 for the PTO, so it's a positive event all around.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I
Roll
get
call
a-
vote, please.
Okay, I just want to get a name.
Erin or Rosa?
A-R-O.
Thank you, it's a great community event and a wonderful turnout.
Thank you.
All right, roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. DeCanta,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday.
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Menon.
Yes.
This was the,
Okay, thank you.
incentive. Did you skip over the very first,
I did, and we're
Okay.
going back. I
Okay.
just reminded that I did skip the first agenda item. Now it is my pleasure to turn this over to Superintendent DeCaro, who will present the Superintendent's Award for Academic Excellence for this year.
I want to take just a couple of minutes to talk about how this process works, because I think it's important for the public to understand that. The Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents allows each superintendent to identify one student each year who they get to give an award for academic excellence. And the way that I have worked for the last 4 years is that I have asked the high school to recommend to me anywhere from 3 to 5 students. They send me information on the student, and I really look at each student. I read all about them. I look at their overall academic standings, but I also look at some of the other things that they do. And I'm looking for not only a student who is academically gifted, but a student who contributes to their school community and who gives back. So I want to talk a little bit about Jackson Keeley tonight before I invite him up to receive the award. Jackson has maintained an A average across all 4 years that he has been at Newburyport High School. He is enrolled in 4 AP classes this year, followed by the 2 he took last year. He is involved in student life at the high school, and he also is a competitive runner. He has, I think, represented his class and certainly the Newburyport Public Schools very, very well. So it gives me great pleasure to invite Jackson to come up to receive the superintendent's award. And we would like to do a photo op, and hopefully this is going to be on the website. And Mom and Dad, come on out.
Yeah.
Because you deserve a lot of the credit for this too. He's done the hard work, but you certainly have encouraged him and given him the support that he's needed to be as successful as he has. So congratulations to both of you as well.
Now turn this way.
Thank you so
Turn
much.
this way.
Mayor wants one too.
Of course I do. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
part as a superintendent. Today is one of my very favorite days when I get to do this, so congratulations again, Beth.
And next we move on to the statement of interest. This is a statement of interest that is required vote from the city council, which took their vote at their last meeting. Tonight, the school committee will take their vote. You have received a packet of supportive information regarding the status of the high school roof and a portion of it needing to be repaired. The Mass School Building Authority has an accelerated repair program for roof replacements, and it opened up a couple weeks ago, and it closes early February. So it is important that we take this vote tonight. We have an opportunity as a community to receive close to 50% of the estimated funding, which is somewhere around $750,000. I'd like to invite Sue Burkholm to come forward and provide a little bit of background about the roof, the status, and just the severity of the condition we're facing right now at the high school.
Good evening. As many of you know, the high school was renovated between 1999 and 2002. But a portion of the roof over the existing, the original part of the building was not replaced at that time because it had just been done a few years earlier in 1995. So that section of roof is now over 20 years old, 21, almost 22 years old. And we've had problems with it for several years now. We've had roofers up there patching it as recently as last month. We've had leaks in classrooms, kids having to work around barrels, catching water drips at times. Leaks in the auditorium. If you look at the auditorium ceiling, you'll see stains on the ceiling in there, as well as around some of the skylights in the library. So it's been a constant need for maintenance on that roof. And one of the things the roofers told me last month when they were here was that the membrane on that roof is really getting very brittle now. So that's just going to accelerate the leaks that do penetrate through it and get into the building. As the mayor mentioned, they're now looking to send a statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority to be considered for the accelerated repair program. And the first step in that is to get approval from the city council and school committee to allow the superintendent to submit that statement of interest. So that's why I'm here tonight, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Mr. Burkholm?
The language in the vote is very specific.
I have it right here.
I believe I was distributed.
I will read it. Resolved, having convened an open meeting on January 17, 2017, prior to the closing date, the school committee of Newburyport, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest dated January 2017 for the Newburyport High School located at 241 High Street, Newburyport, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Priority 5, replacement of roofing of the building, a portion of Newburyport High School due to age, deterioration, and leakage, including flat sections of roofing over the east and west classroom wings, auditorium, and library, totaling 35,100 square feet, as well as the 6,000 square foot asphalt shingled pitch roof section over the main center section of the building, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School School Building Authority or commits the city, town, regional school district to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Would someone please?
I move that we adopt the language as read by the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Menon.
So I.
Second.
Further discussion? Mr. Cole?
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple, I had a few questions. The last meeting we had here, I think it was a rainy night. And when I was walking out the east, I guess the west side of the building, on the basement level, up above were some really swollen ceiling tiles. I was happy to look at those tonight. They appear to have been replaced. Am I accurate with that?
Probably, yes.
Okay, great, that was good to see. But having said that and I'm just curious, with this accelerated repair program, does it cover mold remediation, or whatever the term is?
If, when we get into the investigative part of the project, if that's found, let me back up a little bit. One of the first things that will happen is the MSBA assigns a project manager and a designer to us. And the designer would then do a survey of the roofs and their conditions and develop a schematic design to go out to bid. And part of that would be any condition that they find within the roof structure. So if there were some mold issues, then that would be addressed as part of the schematic design.
Okay. And then in reading your report, page 7B refers to numerous shingles having been blown off the pitched roof. Was there any way, do we have any insurance for something like that? Because I think when shingles get blown off, isn't that like a condition of windswept rain, which can be an insurable case, or is that not applicable
I
here?
think that our deductible is too high to
I
make
see.
it worth
Okay.
making a claim for that.
I see, all right, okay. No, like I said, I was very pleased when I came in tonight. I looked up and everything looked clean, dry, replaced. There was some paint that had buckled. That looked like it had been redone, so I was really pleased to see that. So, obviously, it's something we need to do. I just hope the cost doesn't, I just hope we don't have a lot of mold to remediate, I guess is what I'm getting at. Thank you.
I'm hoping that this price is very conservative too. But I would like to publicly acknowledge Steve Burkholm once again, this is not an easy document to put together, and it's very comprehensive, it's very thorough, as usual. Thank you, Mr. Burkholm. I appreciate all of your efforts in terms of keeping our school facilities in wonderful condition as you do.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'd like to, is there any further discussion on the status of the roof? Any further questions? Hearing none, Mrs. Kennedy, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Decanter,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Yes.
Mr. Menon,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
and Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Thank you. Statement of interest passes. We move on to another project that Mr. Burkholm has been working on, which is a submission to the Community Preservation Act grant program for, this would be phase 3 of the exterior woodwork. I think this is a really important project. This is a historic building. It is the center of High Street, and it just is a highlight.
It's got a wow factor.
It does, and I appreciate the fact that there's been series of letters of support that have been pulled together for this project. One from the school committee that Susan and I signed to represent the school committee in our support of the project. I would ask that people should come to this meeting to express their support if in fact we assume everyone does support this, this project, but, Mr. Burkham, I'd like to turn it over to you to just give us a, sort of an update on where the project is, and, also, question if you could answer, what happens if they don't give you the $180,000 for it?
Yeah, the current, well, the estimate they had last year was $182,000. I currently have the architect working on updating that for this year. It's probably gonna go up maybe $4,000 or $5,000. You know, what happens if we don't get the funding through the Community Preservation
Or
Committee?
all of it, they have a tendency to give you partial funding.
If they only give us partial, we're gonna have to look elsewhere.
Needs to be done.
The city council in the past has appropriated some funds to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. You know, so that's a possibility, we could go there. But as the mayor mentioned, this is phase 3. The first 2 phases, phase 1 was done in, funding was approved in 2013. And the project was done in 2014. The funding that they gave us that year for phase 1 was $150,000. Total project was about $220 for phase 1. Phase 2 was done the following year, was just about $100,000, a little bit over $100,000. They funded that fully, $100,000. We have not received funding from the CPC for the past 2 years that I've submitted applications. So hopefully they will look more favorably on us this year. This year's, the phase 3 part of the project is the cupola. It's a difficult place to work. It's very high, as you know. I was looking at some pictures that were taken of the cupola when the original study was done on the building in 2012, and compared them to what it looks like today. And there's been some very noticeable continued deterioration to the paint up there. So it's important that we get this done and get it done soon. Even if we get the funding this year, by the time everything gets in place, it would be summer of 2018 before we're doing anything with it. So we need to move with it. Take any questions?
Questions for Steve? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve? We already did that?
Are we approving your going forward and asking for the grant?
There was
To
no,
submit.
there was no motion
There was no
made.
motion, I didn't think so. That was for the roof.
Right. We need a motion.
We need a motion.
Okay, a motion to, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh,
what we're
I'm
trying
sorry, the
what we're
motion
trying
would be to
motion.
grant,
Support the-
support
support
the
the
school
submission of the
committee
grant
to submit
application.
the application, grant application to the CPA.
Motion to support, the school committee to support, I really don't know.
That's fine, the
Trying to
submission to
remember
the
all the
Community
language.
Preservation Act,
Thank you.
grant
Motion
application.
to support that,
Thank you,
as
Dave.
the mayor said.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ned. Further discussion? Additional questions for Steve? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Menon?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeizer?
Yes.
And Mr. DeCanta?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
So we'll sign these and be ready to be picked up tomorrow in the superintendent's office, okay?
Great, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you, Steve. Moving on, we are going to postpone to our next meeting due to illness, the update of the Mullen School Improvement Plan. And we move on now to the second reading of our school calendar options. I'll turn this over to the superintendent to lead us in this conversation.
Okay, as you know, since the last school committee met. I also had an opportunity to meet with the leadership team, and they requested that an additional option be added, which shows a start date prior to Labor Day, August 29th for teachers, August 30th for students, and it does reflect the Friday early release dates, which is in the fifth option that you have listed there. I know that I have reviewed, I think, just about everything else at prior meeting. So now it's a matter of, I do want to ask the assistant superintendent to share some data that we received in terms of the early release.
This past
Yes,
one?
yeah.
Sure.
And I want you to have this information because we found it pretty interesting.
We had a Friday early release this, last Friday, as trying to accommodate the long weekend. So we just have some data on attendance, for that day. It was pretty good, except at our high school. We had, average amounts of students out. At the Bresnahan School, we had 37 students absent that day, and out of that population there, that would be an average attendance. We had 26 students.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Nick, I think we gotta turn you down, buddy.
I'm sorry?
You're louder than we are in the room. Your breathing is
Okay,
louder than-
I can
I think, can we
mute you out.
Can we turn the speaker down?
Yeah, we can turn probably,
Whatever
or
we're
maybe Nick's
listening to,
speaker.
that's not your computer, whatever, there's gotta be a
Right.
big speaker there somewhere. Do you know how to?
On the projector, I'm not sure, but you could try, David. Maybe, let me see here, the volume.
Coming out of there?
Yeah, it's coming out of the speaker there, because I
Gotcha.
don't think it's the volume here.
Alright, sorry Nick, don't take it personally.
I won't.
Okay.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Much better.
I can hear you.
Can you hear? Yeah.
Okay.
And you need to speak up a little bit. When you're back at your chair, I was beginning to have you fade out.
Okay, can you hear now?
I can hear you now.
All right, good. All right, at the Bresnahan School, we had 37 students absent on Friday. At the Mullen School, we had 26 students absent on Friday. At the middle school, we had 52 students absent, but at our high school, we had 273 students absent. So we went back and we said, let's look at our early release this year. So September, we had 60 students out. October, we had 80 students out. In December, we had 92 students out. And then we looked at January 14th last year, which was a Thursday, and we had 111 students. So this was a significant increase. So we just, we're just observing that data and thinking about how we might be proactive in avoiding this kind of thing if we were to adopt a Friday release day.
We did have an opportunity to talk to a couple of students, and again, it extended the long weekend for some students, but it also gave some students an opportunity to really stay home and study for exams, for midterms. So that also is probably a factor in this. I just want to make the school committee aware of it. We would, if you go with option 5, we'd like to pilot that for next year and really pay attention to this kind of data. So I wanted you to have that information, and I would entertain any other questions that you might have. Mr. Hawkins.
Is there anything about the program of the day? Like, is it a regular day in all of the schools?
It wasn't at the high school. The high school had Dr. Pokey here doing an assembly with the high school. So that may have had an influence too.
And how long was the assembly?
The assembly was, I want to say maybe an hour and a half, and then there was discussion for that. So it took a good.
That was in the afternoon?
It was in the morning.
It was in the morning.
It was in the morning for the student, and it was very interactive. I was there for a portion of it, and it was an interactive presentation with Dr. Poti.
She's an outstanding presenter too.
She
Yeah,
is,
she is.
yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out those schools at 7:30, get high school gets out at 10:30,
right.
and so about 2 hours of that was,
Well, she was, I think they had some, Erin is here.
I'm
Erin,
sorry,
can you
I'm
tell
going to
me?
interrupt. We get out at 11 on a half day.
Yeah, that
Wednesday,
11.
Yes, and so she presented probably by the time we got the entire school down, 7:45, for maybe an hour, hour and a half, like Angela said, that the discussion after was unbelievable. We budgeted an hour and a half, but it went over because of questions. Then we all broke off into groups and we all had a charge, different activities that we needed to participate in to bring it to the, and those were all sectioned off by advisory groups, so. That's what we did.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess my comment on that would be that it's not so much the validity of the program once it was held. We all, the comments that I heard back from high school students about the program was it was fabulous. I think people who decided not to attend decided to attend because they just looked at the assembly as yet another opportunity to sit in an auditorium for 2 hours, didn't understand the implications of what the program was all about, and in my way of thinking was probably as much an error of marketing the event as it was about having a half day on that Friday. So I would not let this particular incident color at least my vote on how I would look at this particular approach. I just think we need to be more aggressive and more specific in what we communicate to the students that they're going to be doing on those half days.
Thank you, Mr. DeCantor, and I also think that some of the students could have opted not to attend because they saw her speak last year, right, when she was here? Didn't she speak to the students too, some?
No, she did not.
It was just staff.
And it was whoever came to the presentation in the evening. There were some students there, but not
Okay.
many.
Okay, all right, I thought there was more of a turnout there, okay. All right, so, yes,
Sorry, I
Christine.
just have a question about, trying to keep this high school students engaged on half days. Is there any chance if we pilot a Friday early release, or even if we kept them on Thursdays, of doing some kind of organized community service for the high school students on the second half of the half day, where the teachers wouldn't need to be there, but you could make prior arrangements with like some community service providers that would want them and give them, I don't know if that would encourage them to come to school.
I mean, I certainly think that we can explore that with perhaps some local groups, for sure. I think, the staff is involved in the professional
Right.
development piece
Yeah.
of it, so, I mean, that's certainly something we could explore and see whether or not there are some options available there. Certainly we want the high school students to be, using their time wisely.
I have a couple questions about the new one, number 5. I see that you, the start date is the 29th
For teachers.
for teachers, as opposed to some of the other ones, like this is number 2, where the start date is the 28th. Is there a reason for that Monday?
No, I think that there's a preferable option.
I just didn't
Yeah,
know.
no, there was,
And May and June, they're on Fridays, but they still seem to fall, like May is not before Memorial Day, for example. So just wondering, and it comes close on the heels of the April break, and then I guess the June one to me is it's a different discussion, but so I was just wondering if May, you guys thought moving May back.
yeah, I wasn't present with the leadership team
Okay.
when they actually talked about this, so.
I think it was just in trying to spread it out, because you can see that the June early release is on the 7th, and if you vetted the May, I mean on the 8th, I'm on the wrong, sorry, I'm looking at one of the older ones, on the 8th, you wanna spread them out.
Right, but having it on the 4th is that close to the April vacation, so it's not spreading them out.
Yeah, you
It's
get-
just piggybacking them in different months.
You get 1 week of school, and then you've got another week that isn't a full week.
Yeah, I see.
And about the June half day, June June 13th, the projected last day, isn't that a half day? Or is that a full day of school? If my memory serves me correctly, it's a half day.
For
That's an early
students.
release day, the last day of school is an early release day.
Right, but
Right.
That's,
it's not a professional development day, it's a day when we give our Mullen Awards for teaching excellence on that afternoon, and
So there's 2 half days in a 4-day period, I guess is one.
not for students, though. Teachers, the last day is a half day for teachers.
So it's a lot.
Oh, actually, it's a full day, it's a half day for students, sorry, I'm
So it's a-
sorry,
it's a
you're
half
right,
day
there
for
are half
teachers.
days.
So,
so David,
Yeah.
are you proposing, I guess my question is, would you be proposing that we move the early release date in May to a different Friday?
I would propose that May goes to Friday the 25th, and that June, if we're gonna have another half day there, goes to Tuesday the 12th. Otherwise, you're gonna have a half day, a full day Monday, a full day Tuesday, and a half day on Wednesday. Take it the right way, I can't imagine that there's a lot of productivity going on in the classroom that Monday and Tuesday,
But there's a lot going on,
which is fine,
yeah.
which is fine, I just don't know why we need to break up another week.
Well, if we move it to the 25th, and then you're saying move it to the, move the 8th to the 12th?
That's right, so the school year ends with half days.
I just need to remind you that, we've got 8th grade moving on ceremony the next day. There's a lot to get the kids ready for the day before the last day. So,
Yeah, the
So-
12th, we would not, that, we do have the 8th grade
moving on the,
that does occur in the morning, but
Okay.
that could be problematic if we move it to that day. I think there's a whole host of things that happen. I'd be concerned about that moving it to the 12th.
Okay, I mean, I'm just asking the question,
Yeah.
but, the 8th
No.
grade is an 8th grade, but we have 12 grades. And so,
But I don't wanna take away from any grade, I don't wanna take away from, and that's a,
so I just don't, that's what I'm saying, I don't know as much as you about how that would take away.
yeah, it's a,
it's our last day for a full day with kids. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in every classroom on that day, and closing out their year and.
Yeah, I had a question. Typically, when are final exams, when do they occur typically for students? Are they occurring week of the 4th of June, or are they occurring at the end of May?
well, for seniors, it's different than it is for
Yeah, seniors
freshmen.
would be right in May, and then the rest of the class would be the last week of school,
Mhm.
would be the week that
So that week of the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th would be final exams, say at the.
it would be the
Monday.
last four, whatever the
Last
last
4
4
days.
days are.
Okay.
The last 4 days are final exams.
The last 4 full days?
Well, the high
Well,
school's
no.
different than
Can
the
I
other
ask a
schools.
question?
The exams only occur in the morning.
Yeah, can I ask a question, please? Can seniors still opt out though of finals if they have a certain average
Yeah.
going in?
Yes, they do.
Absences and average.
Right.
85 or above and less than 5 absences.
So, in
But theirs is
general.
in May, so theirs is different,
Right.
the dates that you're discussing about the early would affect, the high school has a 7:30, 9:30 first exam, half an hour break, a 30-minute break, and then, till noon time for the second exam. It will always, the last 4 days would be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and a makeup. Which we're in
So-
right now, which we're doing right now.
So let me just ask this, let me ask a working hypothetical question. We saw our superintendent's award winner, Mr. Keeley, with his straight A average. I would imagine he won't have to take any final exams. He may have some APs, but those happen in May. But for his,
Correct.
so he could basically be out of school pretty early, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that, actually, Mr. Cole, that would apply to a number, we have a lot
Right.
of students that do very
Right.
well, so
Yeah.
that would apply.
Those,
Right.
those 5 days, is that 5 days for the last semester or 5 days for the course of the year? The entire year, the absence that would preclude,
Semester.
it's just for the semester?
So you mentioned that, the 14th of
that's not productive. At that point, it's not productive. I mean, people wanna be, at that point, closing out the year, getting their classrooms. I mean, there's a lot to be done at the end of the year for classroom teachers, particularly at the elementary level, I have to say, in terms of closing out their classrooms. So, and it is for everyone too, but I think elementary teachers have a little bit, I mean, teachers at the high school are getting grades in, there's a lot to be done in those last days. So, it's a busy time. So at this point, I think what I understand is, David has, Mr. Hochheiser has recommended that we move the early release day in May on the 4th to the 25th. I'm not sure whether or not you would like to follow through with his recommendation to move the 8th to the 12th. I think that, from my perspective, I think that could be problematic. I don't see a problem, and I would ask Ms. Bick to weigh in on this in terms of the 4th to the 25th. Do you see a problem with that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like we need to go back. This was a pretty lengthy discussion to get to this point, so, I think we could go back, because this went to leadership team, and then it went to the executive board of the teachers union for their take also, just to get their opinion, so we could go back for more discussion. I think the calendar needs to be voted by February, is that, I think, our, contract is by February?
I think so. Mr. Cole?
Yes, thank you. So, not to go into great detail, but on a number of these, in fact, on 4 of these drafts, the contract issues are noted. Can you basically summarize what those contract issues are?
Yeah, those were all summarized for you in the notes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those all in red there? So,
They are, I mean, it's a variety of things. I mean, it had everything to do with, one thing that had to do with the custodial contract in terms of Veterans Day. The AFSCME union would have to approve that. School begins according to the NTA contract in Article 8, effective with the 2006-7 contract year. The first Monday falls on the 5th, 6th, or 7th. Superintendent has the option of starting the work year 1 week before Labor Day. If I exercise that option, they take effect on September 1st. September 1st shall take effect with the first workday. Teachers are notified by February 28th of the calendar for the next school year, so it's February 28th is the date that we need to have the calendar done by. If I exercise that option, then there's no work or school scheduled on the Friday immediately preceding Labor Day. So that's one of the contractual implications that comes in. In drafts 2, 3, and 5, we had an August start to school. The projected last days are early in June. Draft number 2 was June 12th. Draft number 3 was June 13th, with 5 snow days built in, June 19th to 20th respectively. Graduation could be held on June 3rd. Again, as Angela stated, the administrators requested the option 5 because they would like to see a start date prior to Labor Day and reflecting the Friday early release days, which they would like to pilot for next year. And we would obviously take data on the attendance, particularly at the high school. I hope I answered your questions.
yeah, no, that was really helpful. And I'm just gonna state, because I've stated it before publicly, that I'm really in favor of an after Labor Day start, and I'm looking at draft 4. And draft 4 would not, while, basically my reason for this is that we've heard that there are some families, and I'd imagine some educators and staff, that would like some time off at the end of the summer. And respectfully, with draft 1, draft 1 is an after Labor Day start. Draft 2, which between 8:25 and 9:05, there are 3 days of school sprinkled in during that time. Draft 3, between 8:25 and 9:05, there are 2 days of school sprinkled in. Draft 5, between 8:25 and 9:05, there are 2 days of school sprinkled in. Draft 4, between 8:25 and 9:05, there are no days of school sprinkled in. So families, staff have a big block of time to use in a typically hot time of the year where, we have heard from the public that people want some time with their families. To me, there's an opportunity here to provide that. And I do realize that it propels the last day of school later into the school year, but, I think it's worth a look at as well.
Just in response to that, one of the things that I know the leadership team has talked about is that with a start prior to Labor Day, you have students attend 2 days that last week in August, and then next week they go 4 days, and there are the leadership team likes to have a more staggered start, if you will, for students. They feel students adjust better, starting out slowly and building up. And again, for some of our younger students, that's one of the reasons that I think that many members of the leadership team and teachers like sort of a slower start to the beginning of the year. So that's one of the reasons why that is part of the majority of the calendars that we offer.
I would agree with that. I think that we see that benefit to that with our students, youngest to oldest, because they're building their routines again. And then they've had time away from the routine of school, and it helps build that routine again.
So I guess I would ask, what's the pleasure of the school committee? Do you want me to take back this information to the leadership team and get more input?
I'm interested in getting more input on the May early release day, the movement of the May early release day.
To move it to the 25th?
Move it to the 25th.
And if you do that, is it essential for the one on the 8th of June?
Yes, a traditional day of transition. Yeah. We do a lot of transition information from one grade to the next. So there's a lot of communication on that.
Okay.
On that day. That's why we have a June early release day, is to provide transition information. So.
And that could be done on the 12th.
Again, I want to go back and talk to the leadership team about that and find out what the issues are. I'd be happy to.
That'd be great.
I'd be happy to.
Getting closer.
Yeah, we are.
And then, again, this isn't make or break for me, but the 28th versus the 29th of August as a start date, like even Steve, the way he was saying sprinkled in. I don't know, like I was number 2 has the starting on the 28th. Just curiosity.
It's like graduate start.
Yeah.
For everybody.
So we'll bring them back next meeting and have additional information and hopefully take our final vote. Is that what I'm hearing from members of the committee? Yes? Yes?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
And Susan, I wrote this up to an email for you, but I used to work in a district where some of the early release days, especially now that you guys are using a professional learning community model, some of the early release days we had were done via flex time. Meaning that if you wanted to meet in the building during the scheduled time, aka the early release time, you could. Otherwise, you could meet elsewhere, else how, or if you had some like individual responsibilities towards the group, you could do those at a time other than that early release time. And therefore, not all of these, I think I was thinking about specifically the one in December, scheduled before the vacation, you said the teachers just wouldn't want it, it would be non-productive. And my thing was, at least in this district, we never met, but we did the time and did the work elsewhere by choice. So if you wanted to be in the building, you could be in the building. If you had other things to do that could take place virtually or outside of the building or after school at some points, you could do that as well. But it wasn't the seat time that made or didn't make the professional development.
My only concern about that would be that, one of the things that we have been talking about is pulling people together across the district, and people would need to be here for that, so that if I have a professional learning community at Mullen that is also looking at the same topic as the high school, I would want them to be able to get together during that time to share that
And
information.
and you don't have to do that with all of them.
Mhm.
I guess I'm just trying to, again, in November, we have the long Thanksgiving weekend, a week of school, and then an early release week, a week with an early release date. So in the spirit of trying to connect them, that one in particular seemed like there's no way of putting an early release day before December vacation, which I fully understand. But it only is a problem if they actually have to be sitting in their classrooms doing the work. So I don't know if we as a district, this is likely isn't a conversation for now,
Mhm.
but if we as a district have ever considered offering some of these days flexibly.
I don't have the history here, certainly not in my time, David.
Yeah.
It's not something that we've done before, I don't think, no.
This year, teachers have been able to apply for innovation grants that would allow them to be compensated to work additional time beyond these
Yeah.
days, you know? So we have a little bit of that happening, so some groups that are working on a Saturday or something like that when they wanna pull themselves together, at time outside of the day, but our release days haven't operated that way thus far.
Maybe something.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to, I'd wanna have a conversation.
The other thing that I just would throw out there that came across in a few emails was a request for, I know people understand that we're working on looking at reading about later start times, but is there any way that exams, because they're half days, could they be started later? As opposed to 7:30, could they start at 8:30 or 9 o'clock?
They could, the reason that they start at the time, at least, this is the high school teacher in me speaking. The reason that they start at the time that they do is to give teachers the opportunity in the afternoon to begin correcting all those exams. That's part of it, because there's a lot of correcting to be done in exams. So that's the reason. Certainly could we talk about that? Sure. But that's been the thinking behind it, is that teachers have a solid watch time.
It happens during the course of the year on, midterms and finals, and it just seems, since those are half days, at least that shows, I think, a good faith effort on our part in terms of trying to, at least accommodate for something like exams, a later start time.
Is there some type of rule, though, where if you go past a certain hour, you have to provide lunch?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. That's a good point, Mr. Paul.
Yeah, and then if I could just go back to that whole staggered start rationale. Is there anything you can either quantify or for me that what gets done in that staggered period of time before Labor Day? Can you?
Yeah, we
Because I'd be really interested.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
mean talk about the work that's done during that time?
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
A lot of it starts with setting up classroom routines. I mean, in the beginning of the year, that's a big piece for a lot of teachers, is establishing routines.
Yeah.
And, but let me pull some information together, and I'd
That'd
be
be
happy
good
to
to see.
share
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Do we now offer lunch during exam times? Like if a kid has a second exam?
I mean, I am betting that there's cafeteria food that might be available for students, but I'm pretty sure we don't.
I think might be some snacks.
Yeah.
Because, I'm assuming you're referring to the email that was sent, that,
So the first one I
it
received,
seems like an easy,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like an easy switch to make exams, 9 to 11 and 12 12 to 2 or something of that sort, with a lunch break in the middle in case you have both. We always have midterms? Midterm week?
Midterm and final, yeah.
That's,
And it's been adjusted to help with 990, so it's kind of the
When you-
990 hour requirement.
When you say adjusted, was it shortened, lengthened?
There was no, before you basically was just a half day across the board. Just a half day across the board.
Okay, so let's
I
move
just
on.
had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you said, again, the, high school finals that take place at the end of May? Is that what?
For seniors only, yeah.
Yeah, and do we have, can you ballpark the actual percentage of seniors that are taking finals?
I can
Based on
ask
that.
for some of that data
We can ask for
Yeah,
about
I mean,
how
is
many
it
are.
50%, is it 70% of seniors taking finals?
I can
Or,
find that out. I
you
don't
know, students
yeah.
taking, high school students, because I assume it goes, is it just for seniors, it's just for seniors?
Just for seniors in May, right.
Okay.
Right, so, but we can find that out, I'm
Because
sure
that
we've
would,
got
I
some.
mean, that would sort of, that might impact on my thinking about the sort of workload of correcting,
Mhm.
which was an issue you
Um,
raised.
Seniors are the only ones that have the option of opting out.
Right.
So freshmen, sophomores would not to. But that's a good question, we'll find that out for you.
We need to think further on this topic.
We'll get back to you.
You good?
Yes?
Okay. All right, let's move on to, we're on the second reading of the policy, section D
Section D.
in the fiscal management.
Yeah, I'm taking that back into committee at this point. We did get some comments back from school committee members that we need to review with the committee, with the policy committee. Unfortunately, we didn't get them until late in the process, so we were not able to review them at our last meeting. We will do the second reading at our next meeting,
Did you
our
get,
school committee meeting.
did you get, comments back from members of the city finance team, myself, Patty, and Ethan? You did get those?
I did get those, and those look all very good. We got some additional comments from the central office that I want to take a closer look at in terms of some rules and regulations that have changed and what our reaction should be to them.
Okay, wonderful, so we'll look forward to taking up our second reading on the fiscal management section of policy, our policy manual at our next meeting.
Correct.
Thank you. Susan, update on budget FY '18?
Just that, everyone is working on it as we speak, and, we are looking forward to hearing what the governor's budget will be, and as a starting point and as a kickoff for both of us to have further conversation to see where we are, so.
Absolutely, we're on the same, path in terms
We
of,
are.
on the city side, in terms of that. And, tonight, just wanted to remind everybody in the public that, we will be posting these flyers and sending them home, which essentially says that we need your voice. This is a opportunity to come to the Senior Community Center from 9 to 12 on Saturday, January 28th. You'll get about an hour of how we develop our budgets based on the governor's budget, learn a little bit about what a cherry sheet is, what local aid, what are all those terms that are on the sheets that are in our final approved budget, and then forecasting some of that, and then school committee members and city councilors will be paired. We have, I think, 3 or 4 city councilors who've committed, so I think we'll probably be able to do 4 groups, 5 groups. We'll see what what we get for turnout, and move off into rooms for about an hour and a half to discuss, hour and 15 minutes, about their priorities for the school budget. You can also throw in some priorities for the city side too, if you'd like. And then we'll come back together as a group and share sort of the top 3 priorities of each group, and then we'll come back and sort of debrief as a school committee after. I think hopefully we'll get good information, but I encourage everybody to come to the senior center and give us some feedback on the school budget. Thank you. Superintendent's report.
As you saw in your packet, I had received a letter from Superintendent Maureen Lynch of Whittier Voc Tech High School, and just a reminder that the school committee, that Brett Murphy's term was coming to a close. It expires on March 31st, and I just want to say that I think Brett has represented Newburyport very, very well.
Absolutely.
He is interested in continuing in this position, and my recommendation would be that the school committee vote to have Brett continue in this position.
I move the naming of Brett Murphy as our representative to the Whittier Votex School Committee.
Second?
Discussion. We need to have our school committee reps come back and see us. It's about that time.
Mhm.
Ready to come back and give us an update on how things are going in Whittier, if you would be so kind. Any other discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other discussion regarding Mr. Murphy continuing?
He's done a terrific job.
Agreed. Roll call vote.
Okay, just writing, done a terrific job.
Okay.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. DeCanta,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeizer,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
and Mr. Menon.
Yes.
All is well.
Thank you, and congratulations to Mr. Murphy, and we are thrilled to have him continuing to represent us on the Whittier School Committee. Thank you. Assistant Superintendent's report.
Yes, just wanted to let you know that we are currently in discussions about further developing our proposal for this STEM work happening in the districts. We started at the Bresnahan School. We are meeting with the teams at the Mullen and at the middle school next to develop the work that we're doing there. And we have our team underway at the high school. There's one of the PLCs is a STEM PLC, and I met with the leader of that team last week, and we're formalizing a deeper proposal around that. So I'll be bringing that forward just so that you can see how the STEM work in the district will be scaffolding over the next several years.
Wonderful. Thank you. You're welcome. Any questions for Superintendent or Assistant Superintendent? Okay, moving on to subcommittee reports. Join in.
Didn't we?
Finance.
Yeah, we met on, it was January 4th, yes, January 4th, Wednesday. And basically, we talked about school choice revenue, that this school year, the amount's gonna be reduced due to a special education student who's moved into Newburyport and is no longer choice. However, the special education tuition is gonna be reduced by a similar amount, so it really offsets what we're gonna lose in choice revenue. But overall, the trend in choice revenue is lower and lower, and we really don't have much of anything to look forward to. We also reviewed and approved $47,000, roughly $47,000 worth of transfers. One was from district special education to contract services, about $45,000. Another one was $1,500 from Bresnahan School to added security for classrooms in the way of shades, $1,575. And then there were a couple of small ones from the Knock Middle School, library publications, the textbooks, $55, and library publications, the software, $330. In the second quarter report, we reviewed that, and I believe everyone on the committee received a copy of that at the retreat. Did we get one? Yeah. And that was it.
Thank you. Policy, Nick gave us an update. Anything else on policy, Nick?
Yes, we met last Saturday, a week ago, to start our work on section J of the policy manual. We're skipping ahead. Section J is the section of our policy that takes a look at all student-related matters. And so this is a huge section, and the work becomes even more interesting because we have to make sure that this section not only maps to what we want to have as our policy, but that it also is in line with or illustrates what should be in our student handbooks at each of our schools. So it's a work of comparison to taking the mask stuff, comparing it to our practice, comparing it to what is in each of the manuals, comparing it to what we've had in policy, and comparing it to what is required by law. So it's a lot of work, and I'm absolutely thrilled with the diligence of the committee to keep working on this. Hopefully we'll get through section J, if not next month, but certainly the month after. Our objective is to have it all done in time so that when the administrative team goes back to recreating their handbooks, it all is tied together.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Curriculum instruction and expectations.
We're due to meet on the 23rd, and at that point, I think that Lisa and Kim will be there and give us a report about how we can reintegrate the robust world language program that at least the 8th grade with the 7th grade.
Wonderful.
That big main topic we'll be discussing.
All right. And we haven't done much more with follow-up meetings with your evaluation at this point, preparing for next phase. So, on that note, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call.
Trying to catch up to you people here. Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Decanta,
Yes.
Mayor Holliday,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkeye,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
and Mr. Menon.
Yes.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you.
You earned yourself
I was gonna say,
$1
somebody
for
else.
getting the meeting done before 8 o'clock. And it's the first dollar that has probably been earned in 10 years.